15 years ago. We were drowning in debt. We were going backwards fast. We were spending more than we were making. We had a lot of outgo as opposed to ingo, but going backwards fast. And then before we knew it, we just knew we needed to change a lot of our ideas. We needed to change our methods.
So coming out of the military, we knew we wanted to be entrepreneurs. That was a big thing for us. We wanted really control of our time and be able to make our own schedule. And so it was about 17 years ago. We were trying to get a business up and running and we were struggling financially. We were drowning in debt. We were about to have a baby at that point, and we just wanted more, and we wanted to have flexibility and freedom. And so that for us, finding something that could create the life that we wanted was what we really wanted to do. That's what we wanted to find. So in 2006, we started a construction company. We got out of the military and neither one of us really wanted to have a job, but especially Jake. He wasn't down with having somebody tell him when he could work and if he could have a day off and what time he had to be there and when he could take lunch. And so he just really wanted to have more of that freedom to create his own calendar. So we started a construction company in a great time. I mean, the market was booming. We were living in Virginia at the time. The housing market was awesome. You had some great connections.
Big time.
And so he was doing some new builds. It was amazing. So we decided in 2007 to move back to Colorado because that's where our family is. And we were excited about that. We were going to pick the construction company up. And little did we know that by the middle of 2007, the housing market was going to plummet. And then, of course, the financial market shortly after that. And so we were here, we were trying to get it going, and we were struggling because people lost 50% of the equity in their homes within 6 months. And so people weren't doing construction. And so by 2010, we were in a significant amount of debt. And so we were trying to figure out what to do after that. And honestly, that's where doors just started to kind of open for us. I did go back to work shortly after that. So I had a job so we could have some consistent income. But we just knew that that wasn't what we wanted to do. And we just met a great couple who were clearly doing other things. They had multiple different assets they were building, and they just offered to make some introductions for us to some other people who had mentored them and taught them different ways of making money. And I think a big thing is we always knew there were other ways of making money, but we didn't grow up in an environment where we were taught that. My dad was self-employed, and he was typical self-employed. He worked 12 to 16 hours a day, pretty much every day. I watched him work so hard, and we just never had money. And so Jake's family, very similar to that, self-employed, also jobs, just trying to make ends meet. And so we knew there was other ways because people were doing it. You know, we met people out there who had money and time and all the things that we wanted to have, but we just never had anybody teach us how to do that. And so when someone came to us and said, we can make some introductions to people who have this lifestyle you want, we were all about it.
People don't know what they want until they know what they can have, and people don't know what they can have until somebody makes it available to them. There's a bigger world that we all know is out there, but then we're terrified to go search it, or sometimes it's right in front of us, but we don't even know how to activate it or get around it in some way. And a lot of times it's usually a self-image thing, but we're probably like most Americans in 2007, 8, 9. That big market crash is unpredicted by a lot of people. I get it. Maybe some people knew that it was coming, but 98% of us didn't know much was coming. And you kind of get that economic disruptor, get kicked in the mouth. And I think you just got to pivot. You got to adapt. You got to overcome. And Jolene and I, we've always done that. We've just been overcomers. We haven't been the individuals where it's like, well, it's, you know, I'm just going to stay so rooted in an old, outdated method that really we know it's not working. And I think unfortunately, we try to choke that old method and just in hopes that somebody's going to open up, like even the magical, just like when we go back to school, somebody goes, chase your passion. And unfortunately, most of our passions are stupid. Most of our passions don't actually produce for us. Most of our passions are like not actually adding value to the marketplace. So we got to be able to do what's going to add value to the marketplace, what's going to make sense 5, 10, 15 years from now. And so I always love when somebody asks me, how'd you get in the construction industry? I go, I had a hammer in a truck. I really didn't have a grandiose plan. I just didn't want to work for somebody, had some connections, was willing to work my butt off, was willing to network a little bit. How'd I get in the gym industry? I was like, man, I had some connections. I was willing to work, doors open. How'd I get into other industries? Like, we're opportunistic. We chase. We're excited for the results more than anything else. Anyway, so coming out of that time, man, we were just hungry for anything and everything. And I believe we're more about who opportunities than we are what opportunities. Because I'm a big, if somebody's there to help me or guide me, as opposed to just give me like a pamphlet and go, good luck to you. If somebody can literally show me like step-by-step a method of how to do something, oh my goodness, man, I will eat that up because I'm a big visual learner. That's why I didn't thrive in school, but I thrived in the military, is because all the visual aspects of things, I can duplicate, I can replicate those. I just needed the help to be able to see a lot of that stuff. And so mentorship's key, personal growth is key, people are key. When you get in good community, everything can thrive. So,
well, and I think one of the things that we realized, it is so much about who, it's not the what, right? And people chase the what. And we get that a lot. You know, people go, I want to research this or I want to do that. But the best model without somebody to teach you how to use it is is useless. Whereas the worst model with a really good mentor who could teach you how to navigate it would be better, right? It's like if you put me into a Ferrari, I've never driven a Ferrari. And if I don't have anybody to teach me how to drive the Ferrari, I might as well be in a crappy car because I would probably move a lot better in the crappy car than I would in the Ferrari. And so what we realized just through multiple endeavors, it was about who we could be connected with more than anything. And that was the big turning point for us is we started to get some cool connections. I mean, even with construction, you had some cool connections in Virginia. And so we were doing really well there. But when we got here, we didn't have those connections. So even though the model's the same, we still had a construction company. It was different because we didn't have somebody to really guide us and teach us. And so that's a big thing that we realized is people chase the what all the time. And just like you said about passions, it's so funny, right? We go, I'm really passionate about crochet. And I go, okay, that's cool. But you're probably not going to become a millionaire off of crochet. Maybe you can figure out how to monetize it in some way, but probably not. Most likely you'll just get arthritis and be really frustrated that you crochet 24 hours a day and you're not making money, right? So why not go find something that creates the results? It may not be what you love, but we go to jobs and do what we don't love every single day for 8 hours a day. I think it's funny. We'll do something for 40 hours a week that we don't love and we're okay with it. But then an opportunity will come along and we go, it's not for me. I don't want to do it. And I go, why don't you just choose that thing that works? If it's got a good mentorship program, choose that thing that works. Then you can crochet on your free time. It'll be fun, right? You don't kill the hobby. So anyway, we just realized having the mentorship was really the biggest part.
Absolutely. When mentorship comes into your life, I believe it's an obligation, just in my opinion, to go pursue it, right? They're not going to pursue you. If you look at a high-level coach, you go any sport, you want their time. There's another 800 million people who are hungry to get that position. So it's the person that's going to go fight for it the most. If you look at a sports team, they will take a hard worker who's beating down the coach's door, wanting to know more, wanting to read the playbook, wanting to put in the extra time, these types of things, over the super talented person who's entitled or think they're owed something or shows up late to practice or whatever it may be. So when mentorship came into our life, I was like, this is it. I was like, I have access to some of the top players in some of the biggest industries. Why wouldn't I go seek their time out? And I think we're afraid to maybe invest that time or that money or that energy, but if you got a chance and you got a shot, you could use any analogy from here to the moon. You could use sports. If all of a sudden one of the top coaches in the NBA decided he's like, hey, I'm gonna take you under my wing, you'd be like, nah, it's not for me. Like, you don't even play basketball, but you'd go, oh my gosh, I could learn from literally one of the greats. And that's where we kind of saw it. I didn't care the industry necessarily. I was more about the mentality they had, how they had overcome, how they'd been successful for not just like one decade, but multiple decades, and how they had kept that success and grown through it and navigated stuff. Because a little bit of a military background, and I don't edify that in any way, because there's people who did like 20, 30 years who are just nuts. But in that, I learned we're all more mentally tough than we realize, and we can persevere through a lot of things, right? We all just went through one of the craziest times all of our countries have seen, 2020, where you can get a lot tougher, you can do a lot more. A lot of people, they subdue themselves under a challenge, but the champions, they arise, they see opportunity in it, they grow through it, they don't groan through it, right? And they develop 10 times more and get better. So we saw it as an obligation and a responsibility to take it, because we go, we can change our family name. Like, we can do something great now. And we love our parents. I believe actually my dad, if he would have had mentorship present itself in the right time when he was in the hunt, man, he would have, because he was an entrepreneur at heart, but he was a small business owner, had a skill set, but wasn't able to ever replicate that, wasn't ever able to duplicate that. And that's always where, if he clocked out, he was done. He just couldn't be able to teach somebody his brain. And so that's where we got so excited about finding those connections, pursuing those connections, and then doing everything we could to just chase them around and show them we were hungry for their time.
I think a big thing that people don't understand, there's a big difference between coaching and mentorship, right? So a coach is there to coach you on a thing. For example, our daughter wants to play soccer. Her soccer coach at school isn't coaching her on how to do a budget, how to have a good, healthy relationship, how to keep her friendship solid. Her coach is there to teach her how to play soccer, right? And so we always relate that to what we have too. A lot of times people seek out coaches and things like that, but mentorship is different because mentorship is holistic. Like, a mentor cares about you in all aspects, right? Because they realize you're not going to be successful in business if your marriage is failing. If you're having a really hard time with your teenager at home, you're going to have a really hard time focusing on building a business. But mentorship, when that came into our lives, the first thing that our mentor said to us is, we need to get your finances on track. And then they were there for us. When you have a lot of debt, typically your marriage isn't awesome, right? We had intense moments of fellowship quite often around finances, right? So our mentor's like, we need to help you navigate that part. We had a young kid at the time, so it was like helping us navigate having a toddler and all these things. And I think when we realized that we had somebody who wanted to help us not only just build a business, but also make every area of our life better, we got really excited. And I think the big turn for us was, it was like having a roadmap, because most people are just walking around. They're just reactive to life. And so something bad happens in the morning, the rest of their day is terrible, the rest of their week's terrible, 2025's ruined, right? Like we are so reactive. We don't know how to do things. And so when you have mentorship, it was like when our mentor would say, hey, we got a tax refund. He would go put some of it here, put some of it here, put some of it here. So all of a sudden, things that we were making decisions on before that we were making bad decisions, he was now helping us to make good decisions with. And that was really the turning point, is having that holistic mentorship, because it changed every aspect of our life, not just financial. It helped our marriage, it helped our parenting, it helped our relationship with other people. It helped us navigate the tough situations in life, because sometimes you just need perspective from somebody who's not emotionally involved in something as well. And that was big.
And that's a big one. You just said perspective. It's not permission. See, I think sometimes we mess that up. When you earn a mentor's time, they're more than willing to give you perspective. And permission usually comes from like a boss or authoritative figure, where it's like, hey, can I go on this vacation? They go, no. But then a mentor goes, you're like, hey, I'm thinking about taking this family trip. And they go, awesome. I know you're in a big growth phase. Maybe you look at it like this. Maybe you actually push that family trip out. And usually with a mentor, it's always what we don't want to hear. That's why we don't pursue a mentor necessarily, is because they're usually going to tell us the path of least resistance, but more growth, to challenge us in a way to stretch our potential so that we just slow things down a little bit, but also speed things up. And so what I mean by that is, like, as you slow things down and start to look at things logically, it can speed up your life as well. So you can earn that, total control of time and money. You can have choices and options. You can do more with your life in a shorter amount of time if you're willing to seek a perspective that you've never seen before. There's always three sides to a coin, but you can only see one at a time. There's always multiple options. There's all types of ways to do things, but most of the time we just stay stuck in one instead of pursuing multiple or pursuing others. And that perspective, it's priceless. It really is. And that's why I find it's radically changed every aspect of our life. I think real quick though, with action, all action comes with a willingness to do something. If you want to get healthier, you could give free gym memberships, free personal trainers, free health programs. We're still going to have people who are out of shape and unhealthy. I think that willingness, and it sucks that it comes with a whipping 2x4 across a lot of people's face, that they need that radical change in their life. But if you can get to a place where you just go, man, I just need to change. Or, I have a friend right now where he's like, I know there's more. And I go, that's the most beautiful place to be, because then you're just not content. Taking action, you just got to start to develop the habits to get off the couch. You got to start to develop the habits to put a different blueprint in your brain. You can start to identify as a healthy person overnight. You can start to identify as a wealthy person overnight and break in some old generational curses or some old thought process that we had. But you just go find association. That's the biggest one, of like where you want to be. All of our parents said it to us. If you want to be a crackhead, you're hanging out with two crackheads, you're going to be the third. If you want to be a millionaire, you're hanging out with two millionaires, you're going to be the third. If you want to be athletic, you're hanging out with athletic people, you're going to be the third. You find that community, you find that association, and then be open, and be so open and willing to learn new methods, learn new ways, learn new ideas. Because we're the only species, if you look at a tree grows to its fullest potential, humans stop when they're comfortable. And I don't know why that is. I get really excited this day and age to grow, but I've been there, done that, man, where you just kind of get excited about watching somebody else achieve their dreams instead of going and pursuing yours. We live vicariously through somebody else. And so the biggest thing is you get to start to take some action, start to find some community, be open to learning. And then I think for me, I'm gonna do the harder thing. I love if you got two options, one's a little more comfortable, one's a little more like, oh man, I've actually done that before. And then I got this one that scares the crap out of me. I'm like, I'm gonna dive towards that one. Because even if I fail, probably will, I'm gonna grow so much more on that failure attempt than I will a comfortable road that I've traveled 900 million times. And so doing the hard things, but there's so much wisdom and so much truth to it. The harder something is, the more rewarding it is, the more fruitful it is, the more you grow, the more you develop, and the bigger you can become.
I mean, if you're at a place in your life where you are looking for mentorship because you want to make a change, the first thing you need to do is you need to find somebody who lives the life that you want in all areas, not just financially, not just in health. Find somebody who's living that life that you want, and then seek them out. Do what you can do. If that's offering to buy them a cup of coffee, it's offering to buy them lunch, it's walking around behind them as they do chores, because that's the only time you can get with them, whatever it is, you just find that person who lives the life that you want, and you start to learn everything you can about them. I think that is the biggest thing, and that's what we really saw, was someone who had the life that we wanted.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a success-driven community, or you're looking for some great association, we'd love to connect. We'd love to help open some doors. We'd love to see you thrive in life. All you gotta do is hit the subscribe button down below, or click the link if you wanna learn more. I just needed one or two introductions to radically change our life, and one or two introductions can radically change yours. So we'd love to connect.